pleasant good evening from Painesville viewers. Welcome to the weekend edition of News Live on Lntv. Today is the 5th of April 2019 and I'm Julius Compton presenting this weekend edition of the program. Our top stories we're following: President Dr. George Weah returns to the country after the visit from Senegal as Information Minister Lntv unveils the package of the Liberian leader visit from Senegal. New Public Procurement and Concession Commission boss challenged to work hard and serve with accountability and fairness. Liberians on Friday stormed the nation's capital Monrovia, demanding the establishment of War and Economic Crimes Court in this republic. And of the home front, thousands took to the streets in the Algerian capital Algiers, demanding a complete overhaul of the country's political structure. Details of these and much more developments are coming up right after this break, so please be there. Our first development. Several government officials on Friday attended the arrival ceremony of President Dr. George Weah and his entourage at the Ravos International Airport, the Liberian. Friday, as you see on your television screen, touchdown the RIA early this morning. Members of the Armed Forces of Liberia, including Defense Minister and that of other key government officials, as you see on your television screen. That's the flight, the plane that brought the Liberian leader after his visit from Sierra Leone. The Liberian leader returns to his motherland after witnessing the independence and inaugural ceremony of his Senegalese counterpart Macky Sall. That particular ceremony saw several African leaders attending that program as a traditional activity to welcome their counterpart to that country. President Dr. George Weah was accompanied by key government officials during his visit to that West African country. As you see on the television screen, President Dr. George Weah disembarking the aircraft and was officially, as tradition, welcomed by the Defense Minister, including the Minister of State for Presidential Affairs and other key government officials. Let's now bring you a buzz of the President's arrival on today. Well, the Liberian leader immediately after his arrival also toured some key road construction projects in Montserrat County, looking at the improvement of the construction work that are so far ongoing in Liberia. Let's now bring you Information Minister Lntv speaking to the station upon the President's arrival to the country.
In a matter of days, the Minister of State will announce the exact date because there are still some logistical preparations that are going on, and right after they conclude that, and with the security people, they will announce the schedule because they had been postponed in the past. You know, so whether it's rainy season or dry season, we have to keep on working. You know, the economy has suffered some shocks. We are very, very, very focused on addressing the fundamentals that have affected our economic performance. Always is hard, which is because the real economy has not grown. We are not manufacturing, we are not exporting, we are importing more than we export. Our balance of trade deficit is wide. So these are the structural macroeconomic issues that the president and his cabinet the economy for the people of Liberia.
Finally,
the president's prime focus right now.
Finally, Minister, as a result of the president's visit to the UAE, we understand that some delegations will be coming next week as part of the visit to the UAE. What can you say about 23 men? What does it mean for Liberia?
Well, the president, you see, some of these visits, I just want to say something today because a lot of people keep saying the president went on a joyride. The president is somebody who does not like flying. So for him to get on a plane is about how important it is. It is about how important that is. So, yes, a delegation from the UAE will be arriving tomorrow, a 23-man delegation, high-power delegation that will be representing the government of the UAE. They are going into the various areas, into infrastructure, into education, into health. And let's see, they'll be here tomorrow and we'll let the press interact with them after they do their work.
Meanwhile, Minister Nangbe has also unveiled several other good initiatives that will in subsequent time come to Liberia as a result of the president's visit to Senegal. Here, once more, is Information Minister Eugene Nangbe.
Alpha Conde, where they concluded arrangements for they had an agreement that the Guinea iron ore mine in Guinea will be shipped through Liberia. So the modalities now will be worked out by the technicians. I think the IMCC is already, IMCC is the Inter-Ministerial Concession Committee. It is already seized of that. So that's the high point of the trip. Apart from President Macky Sall was also present, the president of the Gambia was present, and other ECOWAS leaders who are going to attend the inaugural ceremony use the opportunity to discuss issues of security in the sub-region. So the president remained in Dakar, attended that meeting, and then yesterday he continued discussion with members of the business community. There are some business people who are deploying their businesses in Dakar, Senegal. There's a laundry list of activities that he had, and we are happy now that we are back home to continue to work in the interest of the people of Liberia.
The interaction with the Malian president reference to the railroad.
The Guinean president.
Guinean president. How soon can we see things coming into fruition?
Well, this proposal has been on the table for a while. In fact, like I mentioned to you, the IMCC just a couple of weeks ago had meetings with the particular entity that wants to implement the project. So there are ongoing technical discussions. What happened in Dakar was that the two presidents, for the first time, gave their political blessings to these months. You see work start because they have to increase the capacity of the railroad. They have to ignite the third-party agreement with ArcelorMittal. So there are a few things that need to be done on the technical level, and then a full concession agreement will be signed and then sent to the legislature, which culminates to the legislature passing a concession, because the president by himself alone cannot grant a concession under our laws.
That's Information Minister Eugene Nangbe speaking to the press upon President George Weah arrival into the country on Friday. The Ministry of Youth and Sports, in partnership with youth groups and UN agencies, Friday announced the launch of the 4 regional consultative meetings with youths of the country on the National Youth Policy Revision and Drafting. Deputy Youth and Sports Minister Isaac Doe, speaking at the launch, said the initiative would involve youths across Liberia.
Today, as part of the government's commitment to accelerate youth development, the Minister of Youth and Sport, Honorable D. Zioga Wilson, in partnership with the One United Nations Family and National Youth Groups of Liberia, officially announces the 4 regional consultation meetings with young people from 15 counties in Liberia on the National Youth Policy Revision and Drafting. This is held under the theme, Accelerating Youth Participation Through Policy Formulation. The overall goal of this engagement with young people from the 15 counties is to ensure that a framework is in place for the National Youth Policy to have legal backing, in accordance with the African Youth Charter, to support long-term youth development of young people in Liberia. It also seeks to validate the National Youth Policy document and adopt a national resolution supporting the call from national youth groups and organizations to the government of Liberia to ensure the active involvement of youth decision-making and policy and development processes. The significance of this meeting forms the basis of initiating the joint United Nations Program of Support on Youth, upon which the UN and the government of Liberia have agreed to engage young people and youth as partners in development, harness the potential of young people to achieve the demographic dividend in Liberia through turning into action the national youth policy, revise the national youth policy, of course, that got expired in 2017, as well as develop an action plan to form a basis upon which the proposed joint United Nations Program of Support on Youth document will be developed.
Scores of Liberians on Friday took to the streets of the nation's capital, Monrovia, demanding the establishment of War and Economic Crimes Court in this republic. According to the petitioners, not much has been done to serve justice for victims of the war in Liberia. Let's now bring you the spokesperson speaking on Friday during their campaign.
Our quest for justice and accountability to the United Nations, we say, is non-negotiable. We do not negotiate justice. This is the second time we have come, and we come with open hearts. Our hearts are clean. We fight for 250,000 lives. It's a shame on us if we can't. We've explained our stories, and everywhere we go, people have heard us. It's not a fairy tale. The United Nations knows the story better than us, because you guys have been the ones that have helped us get this far. There is no sustainable peace in this country without justice and accountability. So we've come once more to let you know that we are disappointed, that we have not heard anything since our petition was given to you. Our president have communicated us through insinuation that he does not want to meet us. And we have seen the president left to go to Dakar to install another government. He's not back even though he was ready. We are once more disappointed, and we're expressing our grievance saying we have a letter for you. And we want you to please act on, because we know a telephone call to the President of the Republic of Liberia from your office will be answered. The man of service is not popular, will never be popular, will never get the audience of the President maybe, but you will, because you're all a partner to this government.
Well, responding to the petitioner's statement was the coordinator of the United Nations system in Liberia, Yakub El Hilo, who called on them to remain calm, as they are also engaging in national government to see the need to address the situation.
That is going to continue to raise the efforts and the energies so that the recommendations of the TRC are implemented. Some of them are very easy to implement, but their impact, their psychological impact is so important that they need to be accelerated, so that the public at large also get a sense that the key stakeholder in Liberia, and that is the government of Liberia, is also very serious about this matter. But, and this will be my final point, it is not just the government of Liberia that is responsible for this. You can even argue that this government has just come in and has inherited an enormous responsibility to run a country that is very fragile. So it is important not to expect things to happen overnight, especially on big questions like this. This will require a national conversation. Liberians need to start talking to each other in a structured way as to how this mechanism that we talked about earlier should look like, where it should be run in different parts of the country, what will be its procedures, and so on and so forth, and the fact that it has to conform to minimum international standards, and that it should look credible in the eyes of those who were affected by the war or whose relatives were affected by the war, but also it should look credible.
That's the resident coordinator of the United Nations in person of Yakub El Hilo speaking to campaigners when they on Friday stormed the nation's capital Monrovia, demanding the establishment of War and Economic Crimes Court in Liberia. We're taking this break and we'll come back with John Kolubazizi for sports.
Blessed good evening. Welcome to the sports where we start off the football field where Leska FC onto the Vit Monrovia Club Warriors to claim 5th spot on the LFA First Division League table. Amadi Akawa, Edward Lenham and Christopher Jackson scored each to help Leska FC to a 3-1 victory over Monrovia Club Warriors in a delayed match. But that match could not come on last time because of the international break when Leska had asked for a postponement to the match against Club Warriors because Leska say has several of its players on international duty with the national team, the Lone Star. And so at the ATS today, Leska managed the 3-1 victory to go on 12 points and sit 5th spot on the LFA League table. In the other match, or rescheduled match at the Anthony Tuckman Stadium today, Small Town FC, and that was the first game, managed a 0-0 draw against NPA Anchors at the Anthony Tuckman Stadium. Meanwhile, the LFA League will continue on Saturday with second division matches. The defending champions, Beer Mountain, will be in action when they play against Samira FC, one of the newly promoted second division club, and Beer Mountain are the defending champions and also pretty seated at the top of the second division table. Mati Barrow would be at home at the Doris Williams Stadium in Buchanan Grand Bassa County as they host Tuni FC of Margibi County. While in Margibi County itself, Bristol, a home side, will be against visiting Ghanosville FC at the Unification Town Field in the first match before another home side, Mata Blue Angels, hosts Fripo FC in a late match. At the ATS, Junior Professionals will try strength against fast-moving Parks FC in Game 1, and later Heaven 11 from Sunny Code City will be in a late match against Summers FC. In kickball, BBKC, one of the newest form of kickball club, came from a home run down against Victory Sports KC, another newly formed kickball club, to pick up the first win in the LKF League. BBKC, who had lost in all 4 matches just before Friday's encounter, ended that winless run by beating Victory Sports 4-3 home runs in an entertaining second division clash. Well, before that match, Bonneville Superstars continued their winning run with an 8-3 home runs win over rival Super, or the Simple Sisters, in the second division. And the LKF first division activities will continue tomorrow with more heat for teams that are feeling the pressure. And some of them, God's Anointed, for an example, will be up against Youngstar Sports Club in the early match at the SKD Sports Complex practice field. Aries and Nerasa, not performing too well, will be up against defending champions Axe Sisters, asking some of the questions. Vision will host another Honor Fire Star, Girls of Zion in Game 3, and Superstars versus One United. It is not to show that One United will show up because they are forfeit in 3 games. And that's where Brazil legend is out of hospital, and that's Pele. Now he says he feels much better after being admitted to a Paris hospital for a urinary infection. The 78-year-old had been taken in for treatment on Wednesday after a promotional event with Paris Saint-Germain striker Kylian Mbappe. In recent years, Pele was taken to hospital for kidney and prostate problems, while the regalia as the greatest player of all time. He scored 1,281 goals in 1,363 appearances during his 21 years career, including 77 goals in 91 games for Brazil. He helped his side to win the 1958 World Cup, 1962 World Cup, and the 1970 World Cup, and was named FIFA's Player of the Century. The only player so far that has won 3 FIFA World Cups. That's the sports for now.
Bazize for the splendid presentation of News Live Weekend Reviews polls. Join in on Monday for another presentation. We bring you more developments on the weekend edition with me, Julius Canton. The board chair of the Public Procurement and Concession Commission, Tipla Reeves, has challenged the new PPCC executive director to serve with accountability and fairness. She spoke during the official turning over ceremony Friday.
On December 28th, the Board of Commissioners reached a resolution to seek a new ED. We contacted the CSA to help us in this process. And through a vetting process, the CSA arrived and presented to us from the highest school the new executive director will have to, will show up to you today. The commissioner have no doubt that Anthony Nambekwa will perform her duty to the best of her ability. We will also be pleased that the performance will adhere to transparency, accountability, so that in our process of work, reviewing concessions, reviewing government assets will be done, that are entrusted to us will be done to the best of all of us ability.
We're also speaking at the turning over ceremony and presenting the roles and responsibilities of the PPCC to the new boss was Joseph Weah.
A fulfilled accomplishment of instilling a wholesome compliance to governing procurement laws and regulations in this country is the feat and the effort of not only the Public Procurement Concession Commission.
The Commission faces challenges in getting adequate resources to perform its mandate as per the PPC Act of 2005 and amended and restated in 2010. Our budget, for instance, has been shrinking over the past 5 years. Our employees continue to work under difficult circumstances. For example, employees here collect money to fuel the only operational bus to convey them to and fro work daily. There are many other challenges at the Commission, among which is inadequate compensation of our employees as compared to other integrity institutions and professional men and women who are ready to work with you. They will be learning from your great wealth of experience that you bring to this job, and equally so, you may learn some few things from them. Before I take my seat, let me officially thank our Office of the Executive Director of the PPCC to you.
Well, taking over the official mantle of authority at the Public Procurement and Concession Commission was the new boss, Anthony Jagbi Nangbeko.
A fulfilled accomplishment of instilling or wholesome compliance with governing procurement laws and regulations in this country is the feat and the effort of not only the Public Procurement Concession Commission. Procuring entities have responsibilities. Procuring entities need to do responsible procurement. Adhering, and when I say responsible procurement, I'm talking about adhering to the PPCA, considering the visions of their respective entities.
Liberia Telecommunications Authority, Abin Brown, is calling on the Press Union of Liberia to collaborate with the LTA in promoting the two industries. He spoke during a stakeholder regulation conference on Friday.
One of the things I want to stress is since we have the powerful media people here, is the collaboration, especially from the PULN with the LTA. We are here, we are spectrum people, so most of the time you don't consider us. Something happens and you consider us. So I think the PUL needs to work along with the LTA to understand what we do at the LTA, how we provide services to the media. That way they will be able to help in that line, because if you don't understand it, we're not to do. And if we come up and say, right now we say we have a moratorium on giving frequency because of this process, Monrovia is filled. Monrovia is filled. And everywhere you go, the learning of that, we have a lot of interferences around it. And he spoke about the power, he talked about the transmission. I mean, there was a real good school about it. Those are things that we need to know. So if you come down to us...
Well, for our part, LTA Commissioner Mariah Harrison said the new regulation is aimed at improving quality outputs of FM stations operating across the country.
If you had your community radio here, and we found out that, okay, now you're out of reach, why you can't find a place somewhere else to go and broadcast? So like you're able to serve the other people who and the other person here, then you all can join the programming together so that all the messages will be carried across. Because the thing here is, if you can't give quality to your listeners, then you haven't done anything. If people are tuning in and they're in 3 stations or in 1, you haven't done anything. And with time, you will see that that's what will happen. So LCA has a responsibility also to your listeners to make sure that they get quality information from you.
Meanwhile, the Chief of Party of Internews, Jean MacArthur, stressed the importance of FM regulations in Liberia.
We think introducing this is a really, really important time for the evolution of media in Liberia. You've had a period of quick, rapid response from donors, which has flooded the country with support really quickly. That didn't always plan. That wasn't always planned and thought through. And that's the nature of what your country's been through. So it is what it is. But now you have a proliferation of full media, radio stations across the country. You all tell me that it's kind of chaotic. Wouldn't it be nice to fix that? How do you fix it after it's happened? You can't always plan things ahead. Often you have to fix things after they've evolved. And then you sit back and go, well, can we really sustain this? Why are broadcasters broadcasting over each other? Is 50 radio stations really appropriate for Monrovia? So now you've got the chance, I see, that LTA with its new leadership making this move.
Of Party Jean MacArthur speaking at a regulation conference organized by the Liberia Telecommunications Authority. Away from Liberia now, thousands are taken to the streets of the Algerian capital Algiers, demanding a complete overhaul of the country's political structure. This is the 7th successive week of Friday protests and Tuesday's resignation of the long-serving President Abdulaziz Bouteflika does not appear to satisfy the demonstrators. According to the Constitution, Parliament Speaker should should take over, but protesters warn that all those associated with Mr. Bouteflika to go. That's how we come to the end of this entire week edition of News Live on Lntv. But before going, a reminder of our top stories. President Dr. George Weah on today returned to the country after an official visit from Senegal, as Information Minister Len Eugene Nangwe releases the package of the president's visit to Senegal. Liberians on Friday stormed the nation's capital Monrovia, demanding the establishment of War and Economic Crimes Court in this republic, as the United Nations coordinator to Liberia, Yakub El-Hilo, called on them to remain calm as they are engaging national government to see the need to address their issue. New Public Procurement and Concession Commission boss challenged to work hard and serve with accountability and fairness. And away from Liberia, thousands took to the streets of the Algerian capital Algiers, demanding a complete overhaul of the country's political structure. Many thanks for watching this entire week edition of News Live on Lntv. Join us tomorrow evening for the week in review of News Live on Lntv. Until that time, I'm Julius Conton. Have yourself a wonderful weekend and bye-bye for now.